What's up, everybody? John Hoover, Sooners on SI, along with Ryan Chapman, Randall Sweets. Guys, 25-15 is not the score that I had picked for this one. The performance that we saw tonight from the Oklahoma Sooners was not the performance that I had picked for this one. It was a rough one, guys. Sooners lose to number 6 ranked Tennessee. Open SEC play. College game days here. Ben the dog is here. Everybody's happy. And then the game started, and it went south quick, right?
Unfortunately, you can't say the offense didn't show up. This is the offense we've seen all year. The offensive line, terrible.
Yep.
3 sacks allowed, 11 tackles for loss for Tennessee's defense, and it was the same story, different night for the offensive line. Can't line up correctly, assignments awful, can't run the ball, 1.1 yard per carry. The difference tonight, though, guys, a horror show in the first half for Jackson Arnold. 3 turnovers, an awful interception, an awful fumble behind the line of scrimmage, another fumble that, yeah, Tennessee has football players too, but you can't lose that. And it wasn't just the turnovers that happened, it was the manner in which they happened. Jackson Arnold rolls out there, your defense gets a stop, throws a terrible interception, your defense gets a strip sack, sets you up on the 5-yard line. The next play, fumble, your defense gets another strip sack, gives you prime field position at the 50. The next play, a throw behind the line of scrimmage. It was so bad, he didn't last a half. Michael Hawkins had to come in. It wasn't much better because, again, the offensive line sucks. It's the worst unit I've seen in a long, long time fielded in Oklahoma. But this is a unit that is untenable. The defense was excellent.
Yep.
But this offense, if it doesn't figure it out, Oklahoma is staring down the barrel of a long 2024.
We're not going to bury the lead here. As Ryan just said, they had a quarterback change. Brent Venables said there's going to be an evaluation of the quarterbacks. He's looking for somebody that's going to be consistent. He's looking for somebody that's going to take care of the football, make plays, communicate with his teammates. Tonight, that was Michael Hawkins. The competition, listen, we're 4 weeks into the season. By the next time we see you guys, that'll be week 5 starting. Oklahoma has a quarterback competition for the first time in Brent Venables' career as a head coach.
Yeah, it was really interesting. You know, Michael Hawkins came in, and at first it didn't seem like he was offering much different than Jackson Arnold, aside from the mobility, being a little bit faster, being able to get out into some open areas, but still offensive line troubles persisted. I mean, Michael Hawkins' first snap, the ball was snapped at his ankles. He had to go pick that one up. There was a few times where he was still getting hit behind the line of scrimmage, but as he settled in, as the game progressed, maybe this is partially because of Tennessee taking their foot off the gas, but you did see Michael Hawkins settle in, look a lot more comfortable behind the line of scrimmage, delivering the ball to some of those receivers. Jaquez Petaway, we finally heard from him tonight. So Michael Hawkins, towards the end of the game, showed some good signs, but again, I think that, like you mentioned, it's a quarterback controversy. I don't think there was enough there to definitively say Michael Hawkins is your starter going into Auburn, but I think that, like you said, there's at least enough there to have a pretty good look at it heading into the week.
Yeah, we'll break it down real quick. Jackson Arnold, 7 out of 16, had the 3 turnovers, 54 yards passing. He was sacked once. Okay, so 7 out of 16. It's not good. That's really bad, in fact. Michael Hawkins comes in, he's 11 out of 18, 132 yards, threw a touchdown pass, ran for a touchdown. Somehow they determined that it wasn't a touchdown, and they watched replay and took it off the board. I have no idea. If you guys saw the replay, you know what I'm talking about. I have no idea how they said that's definitely not a touchdown. Crazy call. Replay. Anyway, Javante Barnes, I think, got the touchdown late, so that cashed it in. They went from 3 points for the first. We went over it the first half with Jackson Arnold as the quarterback. 3 turnovers, 3 3-and-outs, hit a safety back in the end zone. It wasn't his fault. His running back got swallowed up.
Certainly was the offensive line's fault, though.
Again,
terrible.
As Brent Venables said, he's tired of seeing the same things regarding the offensive line.
At one point he said, I would take them moving the wrong direction if all 5 of them at least moved together and it was wrong, over what they've seen, which is blown assignment after blown assignment after blown assignment.
One guy doing one thing and the other guy doing something else. That's what the offensive line is looking like right now. So let's take it easy on Jackson Arnold tonight. Break it down. We'll look at it a little more. Obviously the coaches are going to watch film too. What we know is that Tennessee's defensive line is really good. Oklahoma's offensive line is really bad. That's a bad matchup for the Sooners. But you mentioned it right off the top, Ryan. The defense was spectacular. You talk to Danny Stutzman every Monday on the franchise. He's got to be so proud of the way that they shut down Tennessee at the line of scrimmage. Not necessarily on the edge. Tennessee had a little bit of an exposure on the edge, I think. But running the football, inside zone, up the middle, stuff like that. Oklahoma dominated the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Danny obviously post-game pissed, right? The player just lost the game, especially when his side of the ball did almost everything they could bar score. But outside of the last drive of the first half, and at that point, Tennessee's offense had been on the field for 18 minutes, OU's offense for 10 minutes. Oklahoma's offense failed them again, wore them out. Oklahoma did a fantastic job shutting down an explosive rushing attack. Sure, they got beat for a couple of deep shots downfield, but 2 of the 3 of those, the one that didn't go for a touchdown, what did this defense do? Exactly what they did last year. They held off for a field goal. Oklahoma's defense did everything humanly possible outside of Ethan Downs picking up the ball and running 5 yards in for a touchdown. Like, that's the only thing that could have happened differently for the Sooners defense tonight. I think that as bad as Oklahoma's offense is, we've had the discussion, right? Is this more Oklahoma 2005? Is this more 2009? That 2009 group had an elite defense that kept them in a lot of games they had no business being in. Coming out of this, my reaction to this Oklahoma defense, it looks closer to elite than good. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to win 9 football games this year.
Yeah, and my assessment of that question, we were talking in the press box during the game, was that 2005 team got better. They stunk at the beginning of the season, started 1-2, I think, or 2-3, ended up going to a bowl game, beating a good Oregon team in the bowl game, had a nice 8-5 season, whatever that was, but they got better through the course of the season. The 2009 team never really got better. They got, there was so much put on the defense that the defense finally wore down, gave up 41 points in a loss at Texas Tech. It was just inexplicable. Where does this team fall? Are they going to get better? Are we going to see them improve from this point? Randall, what do you think?
I think that given what you saw on offense, that you're playing 5 offensive linemen at least for a whole game. Maybe that group can get some cohesion. Maybe you hope that group can improve with the cohesion. But I think that if you're Oklahoma, the best bet for sparking this offense is if Jackson Arnold can figure it out, or maybe Michael Hawkins is that spark. Maybe he is what your offense needs, or maybe it is just playing those offensive linemen together more, some of those guys getting a few more reps together. I guess towards the end of the game they looked a little better than they did at the beginning of the game. Again, that could be from Tennessee kind of pulling away or pulling their foot off the gas. I think that it's going to be hard though for this Oklahoma team to improve as the season progresses because of the deficiencies on offense. Looking at the run game tonight, the offensive line has not improved on the way that they're moving people off the ball at all throughout the season.
They're soft.
Right. That's the best way to put it. They have not moved people off the line against Temple, Houston, Tulane, Tennessee. It's not going to get easier as you're playing Alabama, Texas, Missouri, some of those schools like that. So I think that on the offensive side, it's going to be hard to improve. Defensively, I think that Oklahoma can maintain where they're at, despite the injuries to guys like Kendall Dolby, some of the other players on the team. But again, like you mentioned, I don't think that that's going to be enough, given the offensive line has not improved yet this year, and it doesn't seem like there's much help coming. You got Branson Hickman back today. Obviously, Jake Taylor didn't play, but right, what else can you ask for? That's the guy who's supposed to be your star starting center, and yeah, like you said, didn't help.
I said we weren't going to bury the lead. We kind of did bury the lead. Today was SEC Day in Norman, Oklahoma. Like I said, game day was here. 84,000 really loud fans were here, and they stayed the whole night. Hats off to the OU fans. Sooner Nation tonight was damn impressive. But let's go back to what everybody wants to talk about. It was a fantastic day. You think back 3.5 years, where Joe Castiglione and Joe Harris and those guys said, hey guys, we're going to the SEC. We're leaving the Big 12. This is the day that we all have been waiting for, and that's the way the team played. One final thing on Michael Hawkins. You talked to Michael Hawkins tonight after the game. Did he sound like he was excited to be in a quarterback competition for the starting quarterback job at the University of Oklahoma, where his dad played?
Michael Hawkins sounded like a quarterback who just lost a game. That's what it sounded like.
That's fair.
He was a guy that it didn't light up when talking about the quarterback competition. I think you saw, like, the team took this really hard, but the difference is going to be, Brent Venables talked about it. What is he evaluating? The guy that's going to make the consistent, correct call, things like that. I think one thing that it wasn't said in post-game, but one thing that we can see with our eyes, we came into this post-game wrap against Houston, and we talked about how Jackson Arnold looked rattled. Jackson Arnold never settled in today. Mike Hawkins was facing the same kind of pressure. He was running for his life. Jackson's not no mobile guy, but Mike Hawkins has much twitchier, all that stuff. Yep. Hawkins took hits and got better as the game went on. Jackson Arnold snowballed, got worse and worse. I don't know how the coaches can evaluate that in film. We can pick through if it's taking advantage of the prevent, stuff like that, but I think that is something that Brent Venables is going to have to look at, because Michael Hawkins is a dude that locked in, and he was just full speed ahead on what can I do to get better in the post game. He wasn't too concerned with the how did it feel. He's like, we were losing in a game. I want to get there and want to win. Not a true freshman that was going, oh, I'm just happy I played, even though the fact that Rocky Top's what serenaded the teams as they walked off the field.
That's the right mindset to have for a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. You know, you talk about Jackson Arnold and getting rattled. I think that there's nothing more clear than clearly showing that he's rattled than that the throw behind the line of scrimmage that gets picked up. Obviously, I mean, this guy's a 5-star quarterback. Obviously, he can complete that throw. But if you're one hopping a screen pass, that's a clear sign that your head's not where it needs to be. That you're confident, or your feet, right? But your confidence is shot. And you can see that when you watch Jackson Arnold.
Yep.
And when Michael Hawkins is in the game, like you said, nothing seemed to rattle him. Even getting hit, flipped at the goal line, doesn't matter.
He was arguing with his reaction to that play was to go up to the referee and basically be like, over my dead body was I not in the end zone. And that's a different level of what Jackson Arnold was dealing with.
And not only that,
Jackson wanted a lateral right here. He was pretty sure that was a lateral.
Well, and Michael Hawkins is trying to stay in the game. They're telling him, no, you just took a big hit, you have to come out. He's trying to stay in the game. I think that, the confidence level that you see is, and again, maybe that is because Tennessee's kind of taking their foot off the gas, but in general, we've seen Jackson Arnold get rattled, and that affects his play. That's kind of how it's been all year. When the going gets tough, that's when it seems like it gets tougher for Oklahoma's offense to move the ball, Jackson Arnold to complete passes. Michael Hawkins, that didn't necessarily seem to be as big of an issue. But again,
not to cut you off, but Brent Venables talked about it. The lateral play that really, like, the game was over after that. Mm-hmm. Brent Venables said, first off, the read was run all the way. Yep. He has no clue why Jackson Arnold pulled it. And then secondly, they have no RPO call where the ball goes lateral. Right. So it was a massive failure on both fronts, and it literally led me to turn to John Hoover in the press box and say, wonder what Dylan Gabriel's doing tonight.
On Twitter, John E. Hoover, go back and scroll through. And on the blog, on the live blog, check that out, Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com. I called for Jackson Arnold to be pulled from the game after the second turnover, to which Brent Venables said, I wanted to see one more drive. And it was also a turnover right over there.
Hey, to be fair, the offensive line screwed up and gave him the safety in between those.
That's true. So he saw two more drives, and they were both dreadful. We don't know what else to wrap this thing up with other than
another entry into the blog. You had yours, I had mine. Oklahoma could have used Josh Heupel's 2014 offense tonight. They would have won the football game with Josh Heupel's 2014 offense.
That Josh Heupel got fired for would have had some success tonight.
I think Zach Sanchez, former Oklahoma defensive back, had a very telling tweet when he said the last time Oklahoma's offense was this bad was when the guy across the sideline was calling plays for him.
Yikes. Ooh. That's a double-bladed sword right there. Zach Sanchez, what are you doing?
Is that the sword that's in Danny's trunk? Never mind.
No, different sword, although that's double-bladed too. We're going to get out of here. It's well after midnight. It's almost 12:30. We still got the Sooners on SI podcast to record upstairs, fresh from the press box, as you know, certified fresh. We're going to have player quotes, player interviews, coach interviews. Both coordinators came out and talked tonight. Brent Venables did about almost 20 minutes. That's already up on my YouTube channel, John Hoover Media.
And the website.
And, guys, no more home games till like mid-October. We are out of here. Ryan and I are going to fly to Atlanta, Georgia for the Auburn game next week. Auburn's struggling a little bit right now.
You could say that.
Oklahoma's struggling a little bit right now. Both teams have a little bit of a quarterback situation back and forth right now. That could be an ugly game.
Could be 3-0.
Could be 2-0. A couple of good, decent defenses.
10 turnovers.
We're going to bid adieu to Randall Sweet. Tonight's his last night on the gig with us. Randall is moving back to Amarillo, moving back to West Texas. This time he's going to Amarillo. Newspaper guy. What can I say? I'm proud of him.
I learned from you.
That's right. We're going to miss Randall and all the great work he's done, but we're going to have lots more content coming your way. Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com. Stick with us all week. Don't forget the podcast midweek. Don't forget the Brent Venables Tuesday. We're going to have it all for you, as we always do. Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com. For Ryan, for Randall, I'm John Hoover. See you guys.